everyone, and welcome back. This is Wendy Historian, and today we are talking about the No Control Project. Now, in November of 2014, One Direction released their fourth studio album, appropriately entitled 4. From the time of its release, even up to today, this remains to be one of the fandom as a whole's favorite album, with most people being of the opinion that this album displays some of One Direction's best work, musically, lyrically, vocally. All of it all together is some of the best 1D songs, and you can really hear their increased involvement on every single track. One of the other things that makes 4 as an album so special to the fandom is because it is the last album to feature all 5 boys. It's just a few short months after the album's release, Zayn Malik left 1D. And when the album was released, there was one song in particular that emerged as the fan favorite of the fan favorite. A song with a rockier, edgier sound, with mature themes, and with a surprising vocal lead who had never been vocal lead on any song before. During the Louis and Naughty Boy fight in May of 2015, Naughty Boy came out with a harsh dig against Louis, which was the same dig that we had heard a million times through the years from a chorus of haters, and that was that Louis is a bad singer. He called Louis a weak performer and accused him of using auto-tune on the tracks to make himself sound half-decent.
Yeah. Try some original insults, please, because we're kind of sick of this one.
The fandom was a mess when Zayn left, and we were wound so tight, we were very high-strung, because there was this potent cocktail that was mixing up inside of us that was fear, anger, and despondency, and we didn't know what to do with all of that pent-up energy, and so we were just aiming it at people. We were fighting with other fandoms so hard during this time, but then we were also fighting with each other, especially hard during this time. And then when Naughty Boy was being Naughty Boy during this whole thing, that gave us the perfect outlet. We were just throwing the hate on to Naughty, but then when Zayn got involved, it felt weird. Like, we can't fight Naughty if Zayn is fighting on Naughty's side, but we don't know how to feel about Zayn. The whole thing, like, nobody knew what to do with all of this negative energy. And during this whole time, the media was paying way more attention to the behind-the-scenes One Direction drama and the personal lives of the boys rather than One Direction's music. Which was infuriating as a fan because we're looking at 4 as this is their best album, and it was getting no attention. Things were tense, and a hero emerged from an unlikely place. Stan Tumblr. Tumblr user Buscando El Paraíso made a post wherein she called out the absolute toxicity that permeated every inch of the fandom at this time. It was a long post, but the basic gist was, this fandom is a dumpster fire and it's making me miserable. And honestly, mood. She pointed out that One Direction's marketing team wasn't doing a very good job of actually marketing 4. This was the album that the boys were most directly involved in creating, and it was the album that was getting the least amount of attention from the general public. She suggested that we harness the power of our unstoppable fandom and release No Control as a single on our own. May 17th was going to be the official release day of the single, where fans would be downloading and streaming the song on that day to try to get it to chart in some way. Our fandom always really loved fan projects, and we always loved any opportunity to remind the boys that we loved them. And this was the perfect combination of both, so we went all out. There was a 1D Street Team account that really took the ball and rolled with it. They held competitions for people to submit what could be the cover of the single. There were these really cool attempts to make official music videos for the song, including one that took footage from the Take Me Home Tour's opening video and smashed it together and cut it in such an expert way. It was really good. Fans started calling local radio stations in avalanches, requesting that they play No Control. And to say the project was a success would be an understatement. For one thing, the boys found out about the project, and they thanked us for it on Twitter and even on stage. Was even added to the On the Road Again set list. In just a few short days, No Control was played on more than 60 radio stations across the world and even went #1 in 3 countries. All these articles started popping up online about the project. It was asked about in television interviews.
And so I want to talk to you about your song, No Control.
It even made the nightly news.
promują piosenkę No Control. Robią to głównie na Twitterze, ale też w radiu, telewizji, po prostu wszędzie.
It even made history as being the first ever non-single to win a Teen Choice Award. And every time we would hear the song out in the wild, whether playing on the radio or playing out at the mall or even playing in the end credits on Britain's Got Talent, we would record ourselves reacting to hearing it and we'd put it on social media so that your timeline would just be full of the joy and excitement of hearing the fan-released One Direction song. No Control was born into a world where it seemed destined to go down in history as the most underrated One Direction song, but the fandom decided differently, and we made sure that it would be one of the most famous One Direction songs of all time.